International. We're using our show today as our annual real estate show to talk a little about how the market's doing in Northern Nevada. And Adele, when we talk about some of the hot spots or some of the low spots or not so hot spots in Northern Nevada, talk a little bit about Reno Sparks and its market, and what are some of the more desirable areas that seem to be selling, and maybe some of the ones that aren't moving as quickly.
Desirable areas, Old Southwest Reno, very desirable, always has been. Prices are still pretty strong there. Also first-time homebuyers are going to the North Valleys, out to Cold Springs, out to Stead. A lot of distressed properties out there, and a lot of good opportunity for people to get in and spend as much as they would as on rent to buy a home in those areas. And South Reno, set off Mount Rose Highway, the Mount Rose Corridor, very busy, a lot of activity. Montrose has been very strong.
Really? And again, I guess that goes back to your comment concerning the luxury home market. It hasn't really been as impacted as maybe some of the other aspects or areas of the market were hit before.
The luxury market has not been hit as hard. What we are seeing is a new trend starting to emerge. Nevada Association of Realtors just published a phenomenal survey that they conducted statewide, and it's available on the website, nvar.org. It's called The Face of Foreclosure. And what they did, they took a survey that showed what does the face of a Nevada foreclosure look like. And what the survey discovered is 23% of foreclosures are considered strategic foreclosures.
What's that mean?
That means someone who has willfully walked away from their property. They can afford it. It has just lost so much of its value. They don't know when or ever if it's going to come back. So they choose to walk away from their property and leave it. 23%, that's almost that's 1 in 4 right now that are that. And other studies nationwide are starting to show similar results. And a lot of that is in the luxury market, where someone's lost $2-3 million in equity in their property, and they're still paying on it every month. We're seeing an uptick in that here locally and nationwide, and it's predicted that that will continue to be. So that's how the distressed market is hitting the luxury end.
So is it a good time to buy then? I mean, obviously, if the prices are low in the luxury market, the house on Lake Tahoe that was X amount of dollars at the height of the market is now affordable, maybe not for the first-time buyer, but the person that's the first-time second-home buyer.
Exactly, exactly. We're also starting to see, curiously enough, a trend that is starting to emerge with seller financing, and I think we're going to see a strong return to that. Sellers who don't want to sell their home at the base bottom of the market, but they've got equity or they own it free and clear, they can sell it and do seller financing and actually come out okay with different options that presents.
Now, Adele, if you were in a situation where you had a seller and they were approached about seller financing, I mean, can you build in enough safeguards to where that seller is fairly well protected? Or do you start to get into these problem areas, for instance, if the buyer defaults?
If the buyer defaults, yeah. You know what, I really, to be quite honest with you, I don't do a lot of seller financing.
Right.
That was very popular in the 80s.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was really big then. I do see a small of that amount in Reno, but not a lot. You know, a lease option to purchase is also a very similar thing where you make your monthly payments and then there's a balloon payment at the end. But not so much in Reno.
Well,
really,
you remember,
really.
I remember when you had the seller financing before the lending institutions became so, I don't want to say free with their lending policies, but certainly they relaxed them a lot, and then seller financing seemed to go the way of the dinosaur. But you think it may be coming back a little?
I believe it will be. For a couple of reasons. There's a growing swell of people out there who have good income, stable jobs, but oops, they've got a distress sale, foreclosure, short sale hit on their credit 3 years ago, and they're stuck, and they can't buy. They've been renting, and they just don't qualify yet. But they would qualify for someone who will carry the financing themselves.
Right, and you got the strategic foreclosure folks that may have the good income and otherwise would have a good credit history. But I guess I understand the concept of if you bought a house for $5 million and it's now worth $2 million, and you're never going to recoup your investment, and essentially every month you're paying payments that are just being thrown away for walking away from that property. But how does that impact the market in general? I think Scott actually alluded to that. Do the property values then for your neighbor have a tendency to drop because all of a sudden you've got what appears to be a much less valued property that's being sold by, say, a bank or a lending institution that they may have in their inventory? So now your next door neighbor's house is selling for $1.5 million and you're sitting out there hoping to get 3.7 or something.
It does impact it, whether we want to admit it or not. If you're representing a buyer, you're going to use that to your buyer's, your
Sure.
client's advantage. If you're representing a seller, you're going to try and discount it and say, well, it was the one distressed sale
Right.
in the neighborhood, but the rest of the neighborhood shows these comparables. But ultimately it does
Right.
drive prices down. We see more hardship, I believe, in the condos and lower in again in Incline Village, where 2-3 condos go, then you've got an HOA who's having problems, and it just starts to roll, downhill.
Yeah, but what I'm sort of getting the message, Adele, is that for our viewers that are looking to buy, now's the time, because the market seems to be freeing up a little bit. Cash buyers are freeing up. The people that were saving, it wasn't such a black and white scenario as it was in 2010. In 2011, as I said, using my analogy, the ice is breaking a little bit. You know, the prices are still low, the interest rates are still low. If you can qualify, this is a good time to
Right.
buy. Is that true?
It's a really good time to buy, absolutely. We do see a decline in the inventory, though. I mean, there's about 3,000 homes on the market right now, and there's about 1,300 pending sales.
Right.
So as the supply goes down, the
Price goes
demand,
up.
you know, price is going to go up, and so it would be a great time to buy it.
Well, and
You
from,
know?
Sandy, from the investment perspective, I mean, obviously, say the condo issue in Incline, what may have been a questionable deal of $500,000 is a great deal at $150,000. And
Yeah.
from an investment perspective, I mean, is it also time to get those investors out? Because really, I think you got the home buyers that are going to live there, but it's my assumption the investors are going to drive the market to some extent. I mean, is that true? Now is that good time for them
They
as
are
well?
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're alive and well. Seeing a lot more investors pick up properties, and for different reasons. Part of it is just to have that vacation home that they've
Right.
always wanted in an exclusive resort community like Incline Village. There's currently 11 condos under 300,000 in escrow, and that just does away with the common knowledge that you just can't touch anything under $1 million in Incline
Sure.
Village. That's just no longer the case. And more people from California and other states picking up those homes to protect, like I said, their nest egg, to get their income into Nevada for the tax advantages, and just to downsize, get rid of the big house and downsize into something
Right.
that supports their lifestyle better.
Well, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to get some of those addresses from Sandy, and Adele's going to tell us where the
And a
places are.
list.
Yeah, a list, and Adele's going to tell us where those distress sales are, so we can all buy at the next break. So stay with us on Laura's Guns
Don't
Money.
go
We're right
away.
back.